Most language learners are sold the same promise: if you just memorize enough vocabulary, you'll become fluent. So they grind through thousands of flashcards, word lists, and apps. They can recognize a lot of words on the screen, but when a real person speaks, they freeze. If this sounds familiar, the problem isn't you. It's the method. Your brain was never designed to learn language by memorizing definitions. Today, I'll show you a different model, usage-based learning, how your brain actually acquires language through patterns, and why this works better than traditional memorization. Let's look at what conventional memorization really does. You take a word like efficient. You see, efficient equals able to do something well without wasting time or resources. You repeat it. Maybe you test yourself with flashcards. On paper, you know the word. But then you hear, that's not very efficient. We need a more efficient system. She's incredibly efficient under pressure. You hesitate. You're translating. You're not fluent. Why? Because you've memorized an isolated definition, not the usage patterns where the word actually lives. Research in second language acquisition consistently shows that fluent speakers rely on stored chunks, collocations, and patterns, not dictionary-style meanings. The usage-based model of language acquisition starts from a simple, powerful idea: your brain learns language by tracking how words are used in real contexts, not by storing abstract rules and definitions in a separate box. Linguist Nick Ellis describes language learning as a process where frequent patterns in the input become entrenched in memory. Over time, these patterns feel automatic and natural. Instead of thinking, efficient equals able to do something well without wasting time, your brain stores patterns like, an efficient way to, efficient use of, highly efficient at. These are four meaning mappings based on real examples, not textbook slogans. This is where pattern recognition comes in. Think of your brain like a pattern detector. Every time you see or hear a phrase like, "I'll text you later," "text me when you arrive," your brain quietly notes, text often appears around you, me, later, and it often comes after I'll or before me. You're not doing this consciously, but your brain is counting. After enough exposure, it builds a pattern: I'll plus verb plus you, verb plus me when. So when you want to say something similar, you can just plug in a new verb: I'll call you later. Message me when you arrive. You're not translating, you're reusing a pattern. Cognitively, this is often described as statistical learning or data-driven pattern detection. Your brain is sensitive to frequency and distribution, which words appear together, in what order, and in which situations. Over time, frequently encountered chunks like, "Do you want to? Have you ever? I was wondering if," become formulaic sequences stored as single units, not built from scratch every time. This is incredibly efficient. You don't need to compute every sentence from grammar rules. You recycle and slightly modify patterns you've already heard 100 times. That's the core of usage-based learning. Let's compare these two approaches directly with real English examples. Traditional memorization teaches, text, noun, equals written message sent by phone. Table, noun, equals piece of furniture. But with usage-based pattern learning, you repeatedly hear, "I'll text you the details." "Can you text me the address?" "She texted me last night." Your brain extracts patterns: text plus someone, as a verb, past tense, texted, future pattern, I'll plus verb plus you. You also hear in meetings, "Let's table this until next week." We'll table the discussion for now. Now, table is not just furniture, it's a verb in a specific professional context: table plus issue or discussion plus until or time frame. That's word class conversion in action, the same word used as noun and verb, learned through usage, not from a rule list. Advanced learners don't just know more words, they know more ways to use words. They have deeper vocabulary knowledge, not just broader. Now, how do you actually acquire these patterns? Two major ideas fit perfectly into this usage-based picture: comprehensible input and the noticing hypothesis. Krashen argues that we acquire language when we are exposed to input that is slightly above our current level but still understandable. In our context, that means real sentences, slightly challenging but not overwhelming, rich with repeated patterns. Schmidt's noticing hypothesis adds another layer: we only truly acquire a feature if we notice it in the input. So, pedagogically, you want to expose learners to lots of real examples, make key patterns salient, highlight, repeat, pause, draw attention, and encourage them to actively look for how words behave, not just what they mean. Usage-based learning is input-driven, pattern-aware learning. Let's turn this into practical teaching and learning strategies. Strategy number 1: move from isolated words to pattern-rich chunks. Instead of teaching efficient equals, teach an efficient way to verb, efficient use of noun, highly efficient at verb ing. Give 5 to 10 real sentences that show these patterns. Ask learners to underline or highlight the shared structure. Strategy number 2: practice pattern recognition, not just recall. Rather than just translate this word, ask, what usually comes before or after this word? Can this word be a noun and a verb? Show both. Find 3 sentences where this word behaves differently. This activates noticing and helps patterns become entrenched. Strategy number 3: use constrained production based on patterns. After exposure, ask students to create their own sentences by plugging new content into familiar frames: an efficient way to cook, study, travel, I'll verb you later, let's verb this until time. They're not inventing from nothing, they're recycling patterns, just like fluent speakers do. This aligns with Ellis's description of learners moving from memorized chunks to more flexible schemas over time. So what does this feel like in real time? When you rely on patterns instead of translation, you experience less mental translation, more of that feeling, I've heard this before, and faster, more natural responses. You move from consciously constructing sentences to simply recognizing and reusing structures that already feel familiar. That's the subjective experience of fluency. And this isn't just theory, it's backed by decades of research. Ellis on usage and patterns. Nation and Schmidt on vocabulary depth. Krashen on comprehensible input. Schmidt on noticing. This approach is evidence-based, not a hack. Here's the core message: your brain learns words through patterns of use, not memorized definitions. If you shift from, how many words do I know, to, how many patterns can I recognize and use, your progress in fluency can accelerate dramatically. In the next videos, we'll walk through specific pattern sets you can start using today, and I'll show you how to build your own usage-based study routine step by step. Subscribe if you want more evidence-based strategies like this, and let me know in the comments which patterns you want to explore next. Type patterns in the comments if you're ready for the next lesson. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.